When Prince Harry agreed to sit down with Piers Morgan, no one expected calm conversation, not even Piers. The tension between the loud host and the stubborn prince had been rising for years. Now, sitting across from each other under the bright studio lights, the air felt heavy with old resentment. What should have been a simple interview, quickly turned into a fierce exchange that would leave both men rattled and millions shocked by the way it ended. The studio of Piers Morgan Uncensored was strangely quiet that night. Instead of the usual chatter, there was a stillness that felt like it was waiting for something to explode. Piers sat upright, sharp posture, calm expression, but clearly ready for a clash. Across from him, Prince Harry sat in a dark navy suit, no tie, collar undone, his usual scruff shadowing a tired but stubborn face. He didn't smile or nod. He simply stared across the table, one hand over the other, waiting. Piers leaned in slightly, his tone balanced between polite and cutting. "Your Royal Highness," he began. "Thank you for joining us. It's been a while since you've done an interview." That wasn't carefully managed. Harry gave a small smirk. "Well, Piers, unlike you, I don't need to shout to stay relevant. I'm here because people want truth, not loud tantrums." A quiet stir moved across the crew. Piers didn't react. "Starting early? I see," he said. "Let's talk truth then. You say the media destroyed your piece, yet you've built a career speaking to them. How do you explain that?" Harry shifted, confidence almost spilling from him. "If I don't tell my story, people like you will twist it. I'm protecting the truth from those who distort it." Piers tapped his pen. "But isn't it interesting? You claim to dislike attention, yet you've given more interviews in 3 years than your whole family combined." Harry laughed lightly. "I wouldn't expect you to understand balance. There's a difference between owning a story and feeding chaos. You feed chaos. I tell truth." The room felt warmer. Piers leaned back, folding his arms. "Truth," he repeated. Interesting word from someone accused of reshaping history in his own book. Harry's mouth tightened. "I'm not rewriting anything. I'm correcting what the media twisted. You call it rewriting. I call it taking back control." Words flew quickly now, each sharp enough to cut. Piers flipped a page. "Let's talk about family. You say you want reconciliation, but your actions, the interviews, the memoir, the Netflix series seem to burn bridges faster than they can be fixed. Have you done anything to heal the damage?" Harry raised a brow. "Heal him, not the one who caused the break." "But sure, blame me if it makes good TV." Piers lowered his tone. "People want honesty. You talk about healing, but everything you do creates more distance. Even now, you walk in with the same arrogance people criticize you for." Harry smirked, almost proud. "I don't need to be liked, Piers, and I don't owe explanations to people who've attacked me for years." A long silence followed. It wasn't an interview anymore. It was a duel. Piers finally spoke. "You do realize the sarcasm and deflection are what turn people against you?" Harry shrugged. "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to speak my truth. If that bothers people, that's their issue." The polite tone was gone now. Piers straightened his papers. "Then let's get into your truth." He set the notes aside. "You say the press hunted you and your wife. You say institutions failed you, but you pursued huge media deals. A podcast, a docuseries, a tell-all book? Explain the contradiction." Harry's smile was thin. "It's only a contradiction if you don't understand the difference between being exploited and telling your own story." "And your book?" Piers asked. Was that truth or just venting? Many felt it didn't repair anything. It only set more fires. Harry leaned back. "You want guilt for telling the truth? You won't get it from me." "No guilt," Piers said. "Just clarity. You say you want peace. So why do things that make peace harder?" "Because peace doesn't come from hiding wounds," Harry shot back. "Most people don't heal family wounds on camera," Piers replied. The crew held still, barely breathing. Harry tilted his head. "You're not a counselor?" Piers "No." Piers said calmly. "I just ask questions you avoid." Harry laughed. "Questions that sound clever to you don't make them smart." Piers leaned in. "You've accused the press of being racist and cruel. Some agree, but you paint with a wide brush and label all criticism as prejudice. Are all critics bigots, or do you just hate being questioned?" Harry's stare went cold. "When you've lived my life, you see patterns. I don't owe you explanations." "It's not an exam," Piers said softly. "It's accountability." Harry leaned forward. "You built your career judging people for attention. Don't pretend this is noble." Piers kept his focus. "You talk about privacy and dignity, yet you've launched a public campaign about private issues. Are you seeking privacy or headlines?" "I'm seeking fairness," Harry replied. "Telling my story doesn't erase my humanity." "And yet," Piers said, "you sell those wounds, a chapter at a time." Harry's smile hardened. Better I tell it than let you steal it. Piers shifted gears. You've talked about service. You say you still serve the public, but you've monetized nearly every part of your life. Where does service end and branding begin? Service isn't a building or a crest, Harry said. It's impact. Then show that impact, Piers said. Not speeches, real outcomes. Harry bristled. I don't owe you a report. When you claim a mission, numbers matter, Piers replied. Otherwise, it's just marketing. Harry stared at him, almost daring him to push further. Piers tapped a folder. We asked your foundation for documentation. We got a page of talking points and no figures. Harry tensed. Now you're an accountant. I'm asking for proof, Piers said. You invited that when you made impact your message. Harry's voice thinned. Is your next move dragging my wife into it? You made her central to your story, Piers said. Harry laughed coldly. Say her name. Boost your ratings. I'm asking because you do, Piers replied. Harry's tone sharpened. You don't understand partnership unless it fits your schedule. Marriage, Piers said simply, is why both of you are judged. Harry's eyes flashed. We never asked to be judged. We asked to be left alone. Piers smiled. Thinly. You say that into the biggest microphones you can find. Harry's patience snapped. What do you want? A confession? For me to beg forgiveness for leaving the royal show. I want honesty, Piers said. Why should people believe this is about principle when every move looks like profit? Harry answered softly, edge like a blade. People should believe me because I paid for my truth and blood, sleep, and family. I left an inheritance to become a real person. Piers nodded. And yet you carried the spotlight with you and rented it out. Harry froze for a moment. Ask a real question, he said. Or admit you're chasing clicks. Piers leaned in. Fine. Do you regret anything? Harry folded his arms. I regret thinking the British media had thicker skin. Not one thing, Piers asked. Not one detail you shouldn't have shared. I stopped letting others sell my story, Harry replied. Fence all. Piers sat back. Some will call that brave, others selfish. Harry smiled coldly. Good thing I don't need their approval. But they are the public you want fairness from, Piers said. Fairness. Yes, Harry replied. Respect is optional. You've offered little fairness tonight, Piers said. You came armed with contempt. Harry fired back. And you came armed with grudges. A camera light blinked. The room felt ready to ignite. Piers finally said, let's take a break. Harry snorted. Need time to regroup? No, Piers replied calmly. Next, we'll talk about veterans, security, and charity. Be precise. Harry's stare was ice. Precision is wasted on people who want outrage. Then surprise us, Piers said. As the show cut to commercial, Harry leaned in. You can't control my story. I don't need to, Piers said. You reveal yourself. The break ended. Tension returned with the red light. This segment felt sharper, colder. Piers spoke first. Welcome back. We've talked about media, privacy, and your public role. Now, let's talk accountability. Harry muttered. Here we go, with a mocking smile. Piers continued. You say you want change, but when people point out contradictions, you call them hateful. Can't some criticism be valid? Harry crossed his legs. You're stuck on the privacy argument because your job depends on breaking it. You thrive on gossip, not journalism. Piers kept calm. I ask questions. And the man who wrote a whole book about family arguments clearly isn't shy about publicity. Harry chuckled. I told the truth. You should try it. Piers paused before speaking again. Let's talk responsibility. You've criticized your father, your brother, the institution, but I haven't heard you express regret. Do you ever think about the cost of what you've said? Harry looked amused. Cost telling the truth isn't violence. I didn't create Panay exposed it, but you've hurt people you say you love, Piers replied. That's not truth. That's fallout. Harry laughed sharply. You're dramatic. No wonder your show survives on conflict. Conflict you brought, Piers said calmly. I'm only asking you to explain your own words. I don't need to explain anything, Harry snapped. You wouldn't understand. The pressure of being me. Pressure, Piers repeated. Millions face far worse without complaining. Harry glared. So it's a competition now. You hate seeing someone walk away from the royal cage? Piers spoke slowly. Leaving the cage is one thing. Setting it on fire and blaming everyone who built it is another. Harry stiffened. Piers continued. You say you hate the media circus, but you feed it every time you speak. Harry leaned in. You think you're clever? I'm not the villain. I just stopped lying. And yet your tone says you think you're above everyone, Piers replied. Every question becomes an insult to you. Harry scoffed. I just don't respect your questions. The room froze. Piers finally said, Let's simplify. You say the monarchy is outdated and harmful, yet you still use your title. Isn't that hypocrisy? Harry's smile vanished. I'm not responsible for what labels people use. I've moved on. You're here talking about it? Piers countered. Harry's face hardened. You don't understand. I'm here despite the title. Yet you've built a brand around escaping it, Piers said. That's marketing. Harry slapped the arm of his chair lightly. You don't get it? You've never lived with this scrutiny. You're right, Piers said calmly, but I understand responsibility. You blamed everyone but yourself for 3 years. That's not courage. That's hiding. Harry straightened. You think sitting behind a desk makes you superior? No, Piers said, but choosing the spotlight means choosing accountability. The silence was thick. Harry leaned in. You're a man who mocks others because you're too afraid to face real life. Your career is built on attacking people braver than you. Piers stayed still. And yours is built on burning bridges and calling it truth. Harry froze. Just for a moment. Piers looked to the producer. We'll take another break, he said. When we return, we'll talk about integrity. Tiffany remains in the room. Harry glared. Do you think you can intimidate me? Piers smiled. No, you're doing that yourself. The lights dimmed, but the tension stayed. The next part would decide everything. By the end, one of them wouldn't stay seated. When the red light returned, the civility was gone. Piers adjusted his cuff, looked at Harry, and spoke softly but sharply. Welcome back. You've redefined public living while demanding privacy. Let's see if we can find even a little common ground. Harry didn't smile. I doubt it. Piers, you live off controversy. I survive it. Piers gave a thin laugh. You certainly know how to create it. Harry leaned forward. He asked me here to talk, not to insult me. I've insulted no one, Piers said calmly. You've avoided my questions. Questions full of bias. Harry smirked. You came looking for a fight? I just didn't realize how eager you were. Eager, Piers repeated quietly. No, just tired.